Education is often called Africa's greatest hope. The solution, we're told, is simple. Build more schools, produce more graduates, and issue more certificates. But look around the continent, and you'll find millions of educated young people who are either unemployed or stuck in jobs that do unuse their skills. This forces us to ask a tough question. What if the problem isn't a lack of education, but the very design of the education Africa has adopted? The roots of the problem go way back. Most education systems in Africa were inherited from colonial times. They weren't created to foster innovation or critical thinking. They were designed to train clerks and administrators for the colonial bureaucracy, rewarding obedience and memorization above all else. When independence came, many African nations expanded these systems, building more schools and universities, but the fundamental structure, the core philosophy, was rarely questioned or redesigned. The old framework remained, even as Africa's needs began to change dramatically. This has led us to a system where there's often too much theory and too little practical skill. In many classrooms, from primary school to university, the main goal is passing exams, not solving real-world problems. A degree certificate is often valued more than actual competence. Students who think outside the box or challenge the status quo are sometimes discouraged rather than celebrated. The result, we produce graduates who have the qualifications on paper but lack the hands-on practical abilities needed to thrive. Education becomes a race for a certificate, not a journey toward capability. Another huge disconnect is the mismatch between what students learn and what the economy actually needs. Educational programs often have little to no connection to local industries. Modern agriculture, manufacturing, or the booming world of technology and entrepreneurship. This creates a frustrating paradox. On one side, you have graduates who can't find jobs that match their degrees. On the other, you have employers who can't find workers with the specific skills they need to grow their businesses. When education and the economy don't speak the same language, it leads to widespread disappointment and wasted potential. For decades, there has also been a cultural bias. Society placed a higher value on white-collar office jobs, while technical and vocational training was often seen as a second-class option. But a country's development doesn't just depend on lawyers and managers. It relies on skilled technicians, welders, electricians, builders, and creative artisans. By looking down on these essential professions, we inadvertently slowed down our own industrial growth and limited our ability to build the infrastructure we need. So, what's the way forward? Africa doesn't need less education. It needs a different kind of education. It needs an education system redesigned for African realities. One that actively encourages critical thinking and problem solving. One that teaches practical in-demand skills and nurtures an entrepreneurial spirit. We need an education that is focused on solving local problems and creating tangible value, not just collecting certificates. The conversation about education in Africa is not about failure, but about a system that is outdated. If we can be bold enough to reform how we teach our youth, education can finally become the powerful engine for transformation that we all know it can be. This is the Great Africa Reality. Subscribe for more honest conversations about our continent's future. Thanks for watching.